What's up, guys? Wanted to hop on here and just make this short video going through why it's so important to keep your job no matter what you're doing, unless you have something else to fall back to. As one of the things that we see on YouTube, especially nowadays, is we see people just telling you just to quit your job out of the blue. If you're not happy, just quit. I actually don't think that's good advice. I think you should hold on to your job no matter what it is and work on whatever it is you want to do in the background whenever you get off work, before work. That's when you should be working on your dream, your business, whatever it might be. Maybe you're going to create a YouTube channel, whatever it's going to be. That's when that happens. You don't want to be the guy who just jumps in the deep end, never having done what it is he wants to do, and tries this thing for 6-9 months, whatever it might be, and doesn't make any money, and all that entire time he could have been making money doing his previous job. I understand that a lot of people might not like what they do. I have a job myself. I'm not crazy about it. I have a good gig where I'm making a six-figure salary, helping a marketing team out. But is it my end-all be-all? I don't know. I don't think it is. It's not something that I get super excited about. But then again, we get too romantic about work when it comes to thinking like, hey, I have to enjoy every single day. And, if I have a bad day, it's because I'm working a job. That's not the case at all. Like, guys, you're going to have days, doesn't matter what it is you're doing, working for yourself, working for someone else. A lot of the time, in fact, most of the time, I would argue, it's going to suck. Like, you're either dealing with someone else's BS or you're dealing with your BS, not being able to pay your bills. If you start a business out of the blue, not having done it before, you don't really know what you're doing. It's not a good position to put yourself in when you have to start something that you've never ever done anything, never done that before, and you jump right into it hoping that you're going to save the day and replace your previous income. I just don't think that's a good idea. Maybe let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think that's irresponsible. I mean, I'm a 26-year-old guy living in America. I don't have very many expenses. I've been, very frugal with my lifestyle. I don't have very many things to pay for whatsoever, which is a huge blessing. And I've been able to save and invest a lot of money. But even then, I still don't think it's a good idea for me just to quit my job on a whim. I think the smart thing to do is to just bite your tongue, be a man, fight through the emotional drama that you might be dealing with at your job, and work on your dream or your business or whatever it is, your side hustle, whatever it's going to be. Work on that after or before hours whenever you get to work. Do it before work. That's honestly what I would suggest. Work on your business before you get to work so that you're able to put your best, most focused hours into your business. You don't want to be able to, it's going to sound crazy, at least to some people, but the ones who understand how the game works will, I'm sure, agree with me on this. You want to give your job as little effort as possible, as little brain power as possible to get the job done. Contrary to what you were taught maybe growing up, you don't want to be the guy who's volunteering for every single thing, saying yes to every single project, trying to please your boss at every single turn. That doesn't get you anywhere, especially in corporate America. It's going to get you to a place to where you're tired, exhausted, and resenting the people who are putting new responsibilities on you because you've now identified yourself as this person who's going to do anything at the drop of a hat, and that's not where you want to be. It's not going to make very much of a difference on your corporate trajectory if you're the guy who says yes to every single thing versus someone who just does what is required and puts his head down and gets the job done, right? Because at the end of the day, all that matters is results. So my point in this is what you want to do is you want to give your employer the least amount of you as possible so that you can put all of your energy, all of your brain power, all of your creativity into your project so that you can hopefully get that going. Because unless you plan on, you just have to make sure that you're able to give your business as much attention as you possibly can, because guys, it's difficult to get something going. It's not easy. It's going to take you years and years and years to figure something out. And maybe you'll get lucky on the first time doing something. Maybe that's your experience. That hasn't been my experience. my experience in trying to get businesses going and, side projects moving and get those off the ground, it's been really difficult, and it's not something that you want to do and shoulder when you're under the burden of having to pay for all these different bills because you just quit your job, right? So I would suggest that people keep their job, do everything they can just to make it through their job, and continue to earn their money that they're making from that. Doesn't matter what it is. Having a job is a good thing because you have consistent money coming in. The problem where people get, the issue that people have is that they expect their job just to take care of all their needs. That's not the case at all. Your job is basically like a life raft that's going to allow you to be able to stay above water, but that's not the vehicle that you want to use to cross an ocean, right? You're not going to cross an ocean in a life raft. You want to build a ship. You want to build a business. You want to build something that's going to actually sustain you and that's going to have some, resistance to the outside elements of life, right? You don't want to just rely on a singular source of income like a job where you can get fired at any moment's notice. You don't want to rely on that. But that being said, it's not a bad thing. You want to have that source of income coming in while you're working on your project so that you're not having to stress so much about money, not having to sell all your things. I think it's important for you to downgrade your lifestyle if you're going to be trying to create a business or, get a side project going. I think it's important for you to do that. I'll probably have another video about why it's so important to live frugal and not spend much money. That's incredibly important, right? But guys, on the topic of this video, I really do think that you should keep your job if you possibly can. If there's any situation to where you can keep your job and maintain the existing income that you have and work on your project afterwards or before, like I mentioned, that's what I would suggest. Obviously, every single situation is different. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to any kind of situation in the world. So don't take this message here as, direct gospel advice. I'm just telling you what I need to hear, sometimes, and what I would tell my younger brother if I had one. I don't have any brothers or sisters, but if I had one who was talking about quitting his job, especially if he had a decent job to where he's making, $60, $70, $80, $100,000 a year plus, I would tell him just to bite his tongue and do everything he can to, build something after or before hours. That's when you're going to be able to get something that's where you're going to be able to build something, is what I'm trying to say. So guys, I hope this makes sense. This is very counterintuitive to what most people on YouTube are talking about. But then again, most people on YouTube, they're just talking out of theory. They're just, repeating something that they heard someone else say. This is real talk. I mean, people have bills to pay in this world. You can't just quit your job and just fly by the seat of your pants and just say, I'm not going to pay for any of this kind of stuff anymore. I quit my job. I want to do what I love. I mean, you can do that, but statistically speaking, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up broke. That's what most people are. And you don't want to be that person who, quits something that was making them money, and then 9 months down the road, they're over here thinking to themselves, holy shit, I should have just stayed there and done this in my off time. Right? And obviously there's nuance to all this different kind of stuff. I mean, if you have kids, it's going to be kids and a wife. It's going to be much more difficult for you to do that. Not that it's impossible. It's definitely not impossible. There's a million case studies of people who have built great things with having a family and having a full-time job. So I'm not trying to discourage anyone if they're listening to this. I would just encourage you to think about what you're doing and the consequences of that if you're considering quitting your job. I mean, the reality is everybody who has a job considers quitting their job every once in a while. That's just normal human life. So one thing that's also helped me as well before I close this video is understanding that most people out there are having the exact same thoughts as you. And it's normal for you to feel this way. So you can't think that your situation is entirely unique. I guarantee you can look on YouTube, you can look on Instagram, maybe not on Instagram, but you can look around and see people that are being upfront and honest about their life And they'll tell you the exact same thing. Hey, I hate my job. I hate this. I hate that. I don't want to work here anymore. I want to work for myself. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I think that should be the end goal of all of anyone who's ambitious. You know, if you like your job, that's great. I'm not talking to you. I'm speaking to the people right now who are frustrated, who might hate their job, but I would encourage you to think long and hard before you just abandon that income, because that's probably what you're using to sustain yourself and your family's lifestyle, and that's important, especially as a man. We're called to protect and provide for our household. And if we just abandon ship because we get emotional about something or our boss yelled at us and we just abandon our income, that's putting our family and ourselves in a very poor situation. And that's not responsible for us to do. Right? So I hope this video helps you guys out. This is actually my very first video, but I couldn't come up with anything that was more important than this. I mean, I see so many people online just talking about, just quit your job. But I do think there's a lot of value in having a job and being able, even in the position that you're in right now, to where you do have a job. That's a blessing in and of itself. A lot of people in the world don't have jobs. They don't have any kind of income. They don't have any of that. So just try to keep things in perspective. Try to remember that it's a blessing to be able to have a job. And if you just put your head down and work on a project and make it work in your off time, then you can quit your job. And I promise you, you're going to be in a much better position having done it that way versus just abandoning ship and jumping into the deep end when you have no idea what you're doing. So I hope this helps you guys out. Comment in the video. Let me know if this is helpful. If it's not helpful, talk to me. I want to hear you guys' feedback. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.